Today's guest is Blima Ehrentreu. She's the founder and CEO of the Designers Group. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Great. Yeah, no, I think you've been at this on the design side for a while, and I look at your education background because I'm always interested. If that was part of the plan, how early did it start? Your education seems to line up. Did you want this from an early age?
Interesting that you asked that because from an early age, I didn't know exactly what I wanted. But when I was in high school, my parents moved my family across the street from our childhood home and began the process of rebuilding the house completely. So I was able to watch the entire construction process from start to finish and seeing how plans on a paper became our new home was something that I found fascinating. And watching the different trades and vendors come in and seeing how everything came together was when I realized that this is definitely an industry I want to get involved in. But I wasn't sure exactly in which capacity. But because I am naturally a creative person and someone who loves art and beautiful things, interior design did seem like the perfect option.
Sure. I mean, so you had like a life-size Lego across the street.
Basically, yes. And I say for anyone who can do that when construction is going on, my parents knew exactly when the different people and trades were coming into the house, whether they claimed that they were there or not. So it really is the best way to really be present for the process.
Yeah. I mean, do you have anyone close to in your family or close to you that had, sort of a job or a foot in that industry?
Not at all. And even now, I'm really the only one. I have two sisters who are accountants, another sister who is in the healthcare space, and yeah, my brother also is a teacher. So, all very different industries.
Yeah. And did you work? I mean, how did you start off? I guess you went to school, and did you work for other firms? I wasn't sure if you had other firms or started your own firm right away.
When I finished my master's, I worked at an architectural firm just to understand the technical side of design and how a structure is built and what are the code issues that are involved with that. And that gave me a very good foundation to be confident to open my own firm because I really understood the background as well as the design side.
Yeah. You seem to look at it from both sides, the technical side and the creative side. Has that always been the case?
Yes. And I believe that it's really important to be able to do both because you want a space to function optimally, not just look beautiful. So, really understanding what goes into construction and how that will play out is crucial to being a good interior designer.
Yeah. So let's look at it a different way. You had, the creative side, you always seem to have, and then you've built up sort of the technical knowledge. What if there's someone that's technical and wants to become more creative? How do they do that?
There are so many websites to look at nowadays, as well as Instagram pages and Pinterest. And I mean, the sky is the limit. When I started going to school, we did a lot from books. And nowadays I feel like that's obviously books are always there. And for me, there's nothing like turning a page, but there is so much online and so many creative people out there to learn from.
Yeah. So the information is there. So it comes down to motivation and the courage to ask or try things and see what happens.
Definitely. Listen, there is something intuitive about being creative and having a good eye. Like, we cannot take away from that. But I do believe that you can hone your talent. When I look at the work we did when I started and where we're at now, there's obviously that growth, and seeing the progress is special. But I do say that for sure making those mistakes is the best learning experience. And I always remember the first home that I worked on, and it was a living room design. And we were really excited. The furniture was coming in. We had measured everything, everything was perfect. And the movers could not get the sofa through the front door. That was something that we hadn't even thought of. So obviously, we took responsibility. That's something important, to always take responsibility for your actions, especially when you're being paid for your expertise. So we returned it to the furniture store. There was a restocking fee, but they were able to send us a new sofa that was able to be taken apart. And that lesson has stayed with me till this day, as well as every other mistake that I have made. Recently, we were working on a very large event space for about 900 people. And what we were doing was dividing the space with interior partitions so that when it wasn't being used for all those people, it could function separately for different events at the same time. So these are floor to ceiling partitions. And I realized that, hey, this event space is in the subcellar of the building, which means we have to get those partitions in somehow. Now, the elevators do not accommodate partitions that are 18 feet. So this was something that I asked the team, and they had already figured it out, that it was going to be going into the building through the openings of the windows before the elevators were even put in. But we can take any lesson and apply it to every further project or situation, which is something I always tell my team and anyone starting out in design. Don't be afraid to try, and you will make those mistakes, but number one, always take responsibility for them. And number two, learn from them.
Yeah. I guess many mistakes, are reversible or recoverable.
In construction, mistakes are hard to reverse. They can
Or
be fixed,
recover.
but a lot of money goes into some of those mistakes. So it's really, really important to be detail oriented, to double check your work, and to not be careless, because a line on a paper that doesn't look like the biggest mistake can really topple an entire building.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I guess there's things where you can experiment and there's, not repercussions versus something, let's say like structural or something like that, where, everyone's got to be extra careful because, there's huge implications.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's really good. I mean, I saw, I always like to look at people's sort of different sort of social pages and stuff. And what stood out was you were talking about, the design as a gateway for a better world. Now you talked a little bit about the benefits, but connect the dots for me on making, utilizing design to make the world better.
Our motto as a design firm is designing with purpose, creating a better world. We're all about using our talent and our gift of design to make people's environments better, make them function better, help them utilize whatever the space is meant to do in the best way possible. And we really believe that with the environments that we're creating, we're helping people accomplish that. For example, our senior living communities are all about bringing the seniors together so they could be social, so they have a way to have other people in their life encouraging them. What is so prevalent among seniors is loneliness. So, being able to design these amenity spaces as well as these rooms to give them the best life possible at this juncture of their lives has been really rewarding. And seeing the seniors in the space getting together, singing together, talking together, encouraging each other is so fulfilling. Now, that's just one example, but when you look at office spaces, encouraging employees and teams and leaders to maximize their productivity, as well as in schools, encouraging the next generation of students to learn at their best, all comes together when you look at the environments that the people are in. So we really believe that our work is doing that. And to take it a step further, we've used our firm as a platform to launch several charitable initiatives and ways to give back. Because if we're really here to make the world a better place, how better than use our talents, our what we already have, and try to make people's lives better. And I know that this is something that I credit to my parents growing up. It was all about how can we leave this world a better place than we came into it. And I really use that in so many ways in my work and the different initiatives that we're involved in. And it's been so rewarding. And I'm so, so grateful that I get to do that.
Yeah, walk me through some of this initiatives you've been part of in the past or currently involved in.
We have the TDG Insider, which is a program where prospective designers can come and spend a day in our office to see if design is a career for them. So many people hear about design, it sounds fun, it sounds creative, but there is so much on the technical side, especially we're in the commercial space. So for people to really understand before going to school for 3, 4, 5 years and then realizing this is not something that speaks to them. So we do this in our Brooklyn office. We actually had a TDG Insider yesterday. We have one planned for the next few weeks. But we're always happy to be able to give back and mentor the next generation of designers. So that's one. We have the TDG Furniture Exchange, which was the idea came to fruition when I was moving apartments and I had extra furniture that no longer worked. And I was trying to think, what can I do with it? And I realized that there's one person's treasure can be someone else's item that they no longer use. And this all ties into repurposing, keeping our world more sustainable, as well as giving everyone the opportunity to have a beautiful home. So we're operating in 9 locations right now. We are a platform to match people who have furniture to give away with those who need it. And then we have the TDG Gives Back, where every year we choose a couple of projects that we do pro bono to help communities, underserved communities, and different charitable initiatives with their design. So these are just some of them that we are currently involved in. But over the years, there's been so many, and we really like to stay at the forefront of community service and giving back because what better way to continue doing what we're doing?
Yeah, for sure. And it looks like, any of these just, are accessible to other people that want to start initiatives because it sounded like all these things just started with just a small seed of an idea and then you've grown it out. So that's great just to, constantly kind of take these ideas and like put them into action.
For sure. Every single one of ideas, like you just said, really came from us realizing that there was a gap or some way that we could help out. When I was trying to figure out what direction I wanted to take my career in, as much as I knew that I loved the process of construction and I love design, but figuring out how to navigate that path was difficult because I had no one to talk to. Like you had asked earlier, no one in my family is in that industry. And it was a path that I had to forge on my own. Whereas if I knew people that I can talk to or had a firm that was offering the service, it would have been life changing for me. But I definitely learned from having to do it on my own. But knowing what I went through here was a way that I, together with my team, could help out the next generation. And that was really the thought behind it.
Yeah, for sure. Not just the technical and the creative design side, but you have a firm, right? When you employ people, I mean, is entrepreneurship a skill that you acquired along the way, or did you have to? Did that come naturally? How was your journey on the entrepreneurial side?
I believe that part of what I love so much about design is the ability to create. And I think that ties into creating a business, creating a team. It's all about building different things. So I would say that there's parts of it that come very naturally to me, and there are other parts that I am still learning to this day. Every day I learn something new. That's for sure. That's one of the reasons I love this industry, because there's always something new, something innovative, and I'm always learning. When it comes to growing the firm and really keeping up our growth, it's something that I'm always looking for ways to do it. Recently, it's actually been 2 years already, but I took the Goldman Sachs small business course, which here was a space that I was in, but I did not have the proper training when it came to the business side. It was all something that I was learning as different things were coming up. So that was definitely eye opening, learning all the different aspects of a business from the way they taught it. There was so much that I already knew just from going through the motions of owning a firm, but I definitely recommend it to anyone who is looking to improve their business. And really any podcast, or there's so much out there right now, so much information and so many ways to learn, and that's what I love so much about it. I am continuing to find inspiration every day.
Yeah. What part of it came easy?
That is a good question. I would
Easier or
say
easier?
I would say that making the decision to start was easy. And always when things are new, I find them exciting, but it's the daily grind that I find more difficult.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. I mean, I think I heard something recently that says that, people, like you said, the start, right? You have the enthusiasm, everyone's cheering, then there's the middle, and there's the end, which is like the end result of whatever initial, milestone or something. But it's the middle that it's hard to master, right? Because no one can truly know what anyone goes through when they're trying to create something new.
Totally. And I remember at one of my first design meetings, there was a contractor there, and he said to me, "Oh, it's great that you opened a firm. Come back to me in 3 years when you're still open and taking on projects." And it's so interesting because I'm still working with that contractor. And probably about a year ago, I said to him, "Do you remember that you said this to me?" Because it really stuck with me. What he was trying to say is anyone can open their doors, anyone can say, "We're starting a business." But especially in a service based industry, which is where we are, having happy clients and projects that are working well long after we leave them, that's a testament to knowing what you're doing and being able to know that you can continue doing it. So it was just something that really stuck with me.
Yeah, and you've been doing it, it looks like over 14 years.
Wow, has it been that long?
I'm just looking at
I feel
LinkedIn.
like I just started, but yes, we're about there.
I think you mentioned purpose. I mean, is having a clear purpose helped you sort of stay the course?
For sure. I was just speaking to my sister yesterday, and we were talking about a little bump that I was having in the road, and I told her I just feel so lucky that I love what I'm doing career wise, and that I feel so fulfilled by it, because no matter what else is happening, I know that my work is making a difference. It's helping people, and people love it. So just having that and knowing that is just, I do not take it for granted. I know that a job is called work for a reason. It is work, but having the ability to see the purpose of your work is so gratifying.
Yeah. I mean, for people that haven't quite figured out what that is, I mean, do you have any tips for them? Any clues on how they could get there?
In any industry and literally every single job, there is something that's helping people out. So it's finding that purpose in what you're doing, whether it's your actual job that's fulfilling or the fact that you're making money to support your family or yourself or your loved ones or giving charity. There's always some way to find purpose in what you're doing. And I believe that it's so empowering once you do. Because once you find the purpose and you're able to explore it and maximize it, it's just such a different way of going about your day. And it really changes everything. For sure, for me, it has. I know for my team, I know for our clients, when we show them the purpose of our design and how we're giving people within those spaces purpose, it changes everything.
Yeah, you use the word explore. What do you do to explore different areas? I mean, what is your typical pattern? Where do you go to sort of expand, call it your, creative, I don't know, energize your creative juices or expand on?
So our design process is the same for every project, whether it's in the healthcare, senior living, multifamily, office, retail, educational spaces. So we do have the same process where we really speak to our clients and understand what they're looking to do with their space. Now, together with our incredible team, where our team is very diverse. We have people from different countries, different cultures, different backgrounds, different religions, and I believe that everyone's individual experiences give us a better outlook because we all go through things in different ways, and being able to take those collective experiences and looking at the space and how we can maximize it is something that keeps our work very innovative and keeps our designs really special. But the way I stay inspired is by always trying new things. I love to travel. I love to see how different people live. I love to stay active. Recently, I started exploring eating healthy. Definitely think that makes a big difference. So, really, just keeping myself and the people on our team engaged in what's going on in the world, as well as how we experience it, always inspires our work.
Very nice. Is there anything I haven't asked you, but you wanted to share about anything that you're doing?
I'll lean back into your previous question about how we stay inspired with our work or what it is, and how I said the experiences that we have. So, we were recently engaged to work on a string of urgent cares. And the way we approached that, the design was, why, when we're going to get stitches or to see a doctor, is that an anxiety ridden experience? While when we go get a massage or a facial, that's a luxurious experience. So, really tapping into how we feel in different situations and why that is, and how we could change those experiences for people. So we approach the design from a hospitality slash spa perspective. We are People walked in, there was a beautiful reception area because you do need that person to check in people walking through the door. And really, the whole design, we used that as our vision and the concept. And I remember when we had the first grand opening, I heard someone say to someone else, like, "Hey, I feel like I'm in a spa." And I walked over to him and I said, "Did someone pay you to say that?" Like, that was literally what we had in mind when we were designing the space. And I like to take that a step further, really into any situation that we're in. Understanding how our actions give people different experiences really changes the way we approach anything. And I know that your podcast is about growth. So that is definitely one way that I've been really working on my growth, is really thinking about the way my actions affect others and the experiences they're having by the way I'm acting. So, just a tidbit.
Very nice. I love that. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your experience.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.